So welcome back to another episode of the Formula Fools podcast. I'm David, and for the next hour, I'll be attempting to teach this man a little bit about Formula One. Obviously, the man I'm referring to is Skin.
Hello. Thank you, Disc.
No worries, Skin.
Looking forward to it.
Yep. Did you enjoy testing?
I enjoyed the 3 highlight videos that I watched about an hour ago. They were wonderful.
Go Skin. Okay, so from pit lane antics to racing riddles, we're here to make you laugh, question your sanity, sit back, buckle up. It's time for Formula One. I messed that up again. It's supposed to be and question your sanity, but who cares?
Yeah, that's right.
You forgot about that, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. That's going to make an appearance every week.
Okay, all right. I'll try to get used to it then. That's exciting.
I mean, I could also hit you with this one. And I've got about 6 more on my laptop that I've not put on here yet.
You could also stop doing that if you'd like.
Oh. That's what you get.
Nice. That's good stuff.
That is good stuff. Okay, Skin, I've got a little bone to pick with you because yesterday in the office, we were just sat around chatting, chilling, not really doing much.
Yep.
Obviously.
Subject of F1 obviously came up seamlessly as it always does. I mean, it's just so natural in our conversations.
Exactly. I'm just crowbarring it in every possible opportunity I've got. So I played a bit of audio. I've got that audio that I played here for you.
Okay.
Carbon fiber. Carbon fiber. Carbon fiber. Carbon fiber. Carbon fiber. Carbon fiber.
Obviously, everyone that is listening to this podcast should know that this is in reference to this piece of audio.
Mercedes.
It's even weirder when you listen to it with headphones on, isn't it?
Yeah, and even weirder without the visual that goes along with it. I don't know if everyone should know that. I'd never seen that.
Mate, this video it was so big. It got like millions of views on TikTok.
Right, okay.
It was
maybe
huge.
I'll just live under a rock, but I'd never seen that.
Yeah, so not only had Skin not seen the original Mercedes video, but also when I prompted you with the George Russell video, what was your question, Skin?
I think it was along the lines of, who's George Russell?
Yep.
Yeah, which you were horribly offended by.
I was very offended by because potentially one of the best British drivers on the grid at the moment.
Okay.
A rising star, Mercedes' new frontman when Lewis leaves.
Okay. Yeah, right. Okay. I knew he was a driver. I at least knew that much.
Yep.
But I didn't know much more about him. Or
you didn't know he drove for Mercedes?
I didn't know he drove for Mercedes, no. So he's like currently driving for Mercedes just with Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah, him and Lewis teammates. Okay. And then next year he'll be staying and will be like the team leader kind of thing.
The team leader.
Well, like he'll just be the longest serving driver. So like just kind of assumes the role of team leader.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. And so he's good, you presume?
Yeah, real good. Yeah.
Nice.
Like drove for Williams, had some outstanding performances in 2021, 2022. I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
I think his first year in Mercedes was last year. I don't know. Someone will call us up on that one. But well, he drove real well for Williams and then got promoted. Sorry.
Okay. No, I'm keen to learn more about George Russell.
Good. Yeah. Well, unfortunately for you, Skin, we're not talking about George Russell this week. So let's slide on through to our next subject. You've got some questions this week about a Formula One race weekend.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, well, the first race of the season's coming up, isn't it? So
yeah, well, as we're recording this, it's officially started. Free practice was today.
Yep.
Kind of. In Australia, it was yesterday/today because it went over midnight.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So like the first race is this weekend then. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah,
We're recording on a Friday, racing on Sunday.
Technically qualifying is tonight.
Okay.
I'll be staying up till like 3 a.m. to watch qualifying.
Yeah, I'll obviously be doing the same thing.
Of course, of course you will.
I love qualifying.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Eloise will just be in bed, like, Skin, what are you doing? Turn the TV down, all that classic gear, of course.
Exactly. Okay, all right. So it's coming up sooner than I expected. But I figured, okay, so first race is this weekend. I feel like I should know something about how a race actually works. Because as we said, I've watched one before that with you, not at the race, but on the TV, watched last year's Las Vegas race, and I was pretty confused the whole day, I'll be honest.
Well, the even more confusing thing is that you came in just for the race, and like an F1 weekend starts on the Thursday. Right. So I guess do you want me to just start there, kind of like a basic guideline of the weekend, or do you want to?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So race weekend starts on a Thursday. You usually have like your media days. Teams will do track walks, all this kind of stuff. Like fans can go into the track. So when we go to Melbourne in 3 weeks time, if you lose tomorrow at cricket, fingers crossed, then yeah, we'll be going on the Thursday, and you just get to go around the track, go through the paddock, and just like, it's just building the buzz of the race weekend. Okay. And they also do a lot of media interviews, the drivers and the teams and things.
Okay. Wait, sorry. Teams walk the track?
Yeah, track walks, yeah.
For any reason?
Just the same as you would like in cricket, you go look at the pitch, you go look at the middle to like see how it is, like how the middle is looking.
Okay.
Track's the exact same. Like tarmac can change year on year. Oh. And so like the Bahrain track where we are this weekend, where testing is, I don't think it's been resurfaced since it came onto the calendar like 20 years ago. So like it's 20-year-old tarmac that we're racing on. So it changes over time. And so like new bumps appear and things like that. So yeah, they'll do a track walk, just kind of like see the curbs, see what's what, and then talk about how to set up the car for the track. Okay.
Right. Testing being in Bahrain and the first race being in Bahrain, is that always the case, or is that?
No, it's pretty recent. I can't remember how long ago, but Australia had it for the longest time. Like Melbourne Grand Prix was always the opening race. Okay. Yeah. And I think it's returning again next year. That was kind of leaked by the Australian Grand Prix Instagram page, that's saying like Lewis's first race will be at the Australian Grand Prix. And then everyone was like, oh,
okay.
No one knew that was going to happen.
What that means.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So,
and does that mean testing will also be in Melbourne next year then, or it doesn't matter?
I don't think they've confirmed that, but I would doubt it.
Okay.
Just because the infrastructure of the Melbourne Grand Prix is a street circuit. Like you've ran Albert Park, like it didn't look like an F1 circuit. It's just a car park and a road kind of thing.
Yeah.
So to turn that into a Formula One track takes, like they've been doing it all year so far for the end of May. End of March, sorry. So it takes a long time to turn it into a Formula One track. So yeah, I doubt it'll be Australia. It'll probably be Bahrain still. So they'll go Bahrain, then they'll fly the car over here.
Crikey.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Thursday you walk the track, you do some media stuff.
Yeah.
And what's the Friday?
So Friday is then free practice. So we have 3 free practice sessions over a full race weekend. So Friday is free practice 1, free practice 2, or FP1, FP2, which is just, you get an hour session for each. I'm pretty sure it is. The cars can go out, they can run fuel simulations, race simulations, and qualifying simulations. Like they can run whatever they want to run, but they're kind of the main things that the teams will go through during the first 2 practice sessions. They'll also run like new updates to the car, like new aerodynamics and things like that.
Okay. What's a fuel simulation?
So especially early on in the season, they want to know what the fuel consumption of the car is.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you've gone to Ford and you've bought a new Mustang or something. Great people. And yeah, you just like the book says, it does 12 miles to the gallon or whatever. So you know how much fuel consumption you've got. They don't know. So they'll run tests in preseason and in the early free practice sessions to say at this altitude, the form and the fuel and the oil and everything like performs in this way.
Okay.
So then they know how much fuel to put in for the race.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense? That
makes some sense. And so, all right, so that's in free practice. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between free practice and paid practice?
Good. That's good. That's very good. I mean, all of it's paid because it's very expensive, but good.
Is that good? Is paid practice the other thing?
No, there's nothing. There's no such. I thought you was pulling a pun on me.
Yeah, well, I was, but I was hoping it maybe meant something. But
no, it means absolutely nothing.
All right.
Free practice is just kind of like, it's more like unrestricted. You can do what you want to do.
Right.
And each team will run different, they'll run different like tests and things to each other. So no one's doing the same thing usually. Okay.
Are the cars all out there at the same time on the Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just depends because there's an hour-long session. Like you might have a quick rush. So like with Bahrain, for example, free practice, it's a night race. So free practice 1 is done in the like afternoon, evening. So it's kind of like just before sunset, going into sunset. So like the conditions there are not the conditions that you will get for the qualifying and race. So data that you get in terms of like tire temperatures and the air temperature and things like that are not the same. So the car will perform slightly differently. So they're probably doing more like aerodynamic kind of like testing new aerodynamic parts or testing other things on the car, just see how the car works.
Okay.
Over doing a qualifying simulation or a race simulation. They'll do that in free practice too, when it's more like the same time as they'll race on the Sunday.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
I'm with you. That's fine.
So Saturday we have our 3rd free practice session. Again, that's usually the same time as free practice 1, just on the Saturday. So it's a bit earlier. This is kind of the most important of all the free practices because you usually get this and then you have a 2-hour break and then it's qualifying.
Okay.
So this one, you're kind of setting your car up for qualifying. So this is the last time the drivers and the teams will get to work on the car and drive the car before they have to like thrash the fuck out of it to get the best time.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So then qualifying. Qualifying is broken up into 3 sections. It's real confusing, and they're talking about changing it. They talk about changing it all the time. It does always have slight changes, but at the moment it's qualifying 1. No, wait. Qualifying 1, Q1. We have 5 people will get eliminated. So all 20 cars will go out. Bottom 5 get eliminated. And then we go through to Q2. Bottom 5 get eliminated. We go through to Q3. The top 10 then fight it out to decide the top 10. You see?
Yeah.
Okay. During them elimination ones, the Q1 and Q2, in Q1, you've got like 18 minutes to go out and set your fastest time. People sometimes will also crash. So or they'll have errors or whatever. So sometimes you'll see like a Mercedes or a Red Bull. They'll go out in the first qualifying session because they've just had a shocker, or there's been they've had a crash, or someone else has had a crash and it's ruined their schedule. So then they've got they're kind of like bottom of the grid for the race.
That's just unlucky.
That's just unlucky. Yeah.
You're just eliminated.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it.
No.
Okay. And so getting eliminated from the qualifying in that Q1 means you start at the back of the grid on race
you
day,
start wherever that position is. So if you qualify in 17th, you're eliminated in Q1. You start 17th on the Sunday.
Okay. And then same with Q2.
Exact same,
get eliminated.
Yeah.
That just means you're starting further behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll hear people, especially in commentary, talking about like the cutoff zone or the elimination zone. That's like in Q1, that's 15th position. And in Q2, that'll be 10th position.
Okay.
So that's just the last spot available before elimination.
Okay.
So it'll be like, if you've set a time of like a 1 minute 10 dead, then you need to do like a 1 minute 9.59 to get through.
Okay. Right. And so, 2 questions. Firstly, that qualifying, you say you go out there for 18 minutes.
Yep.
You're just trying to get the fastest lap time.
Yeah.
Like just one lap.
Just one lap.
Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They just take everyone's fastest lap.
Yep.
And the 5 slowest get eliminated.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some rules around that. You can't obviously cut corners. You can't abuse track limits. So when you look at a track, you will have seen like white painted lines around either side of the track that distinguishes this is the edge of the road. This is the edge of the track. So on some tracks, you can cut your car fully past them white lines to cut a corner, and it's faster. And people will do it like onto the limit, and they have sensors on it and stuff. So if you're a millimeter over, they'll know that you're over. Your lap time will get deleted.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what are all those red and white things on the side of the road? The little
the curbs.
The curbs. Yeah. Okay. So are they inside or outside those white lines?
Outside.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, it will be the curb. So if you've got like the track here, you'll have the curb running along the side. Yeah. The white line will always run along the tarmac.
On the inside. Okay.
But they're allowed. The rule is that as long as all 4 tires don't exit the track.
Okay.
So you can have 90%
on the curb.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And is going up on the curb a good thing? Why do they're always up on the curb?
Again, it depends. Like tracks that come to mind, like Austria at the Red Bull Ring, you go into turn 1, you want to take a real tight apex.
Okay.
Wait, do you know what an apex means?
Nope.
So an apex is the curbs, but it's the tightest point of the corner. So if you've got a right hand angle corner like that, this bit here would be your apex. So it's like the peak of the corner kind of thing.
Okay.
So you want to be as tight to the turn 1 apex at the Red Bull Ring. So you're gonna use as much curb as possible to get as far over to the right hand side of that. Okay. And then on the exit of that, there is a massive curb as a runoff area. Because you're going to carry so much speed, you're naturally going to slide over to that. So you want to, again, lean on it as much as possible and run onto that and then back onto the track. So it's more of a tactical thing to just shorten the track and take each corner as fast as possible. They're also just kind of there for a bit of safety so that it's not just like immediate grass, because they know you're going to carry a lot of speed.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Is that taking the tight line around the apex, like sort of being on the inside of the corner? Is that every corner? You always want to do that?
Yeah.
Is there ever a time where you would want to take a wide?
Oh yeah, like on the current F1 calendar, there's a track called Zandvoort in the Netherlands, and it's got these crazy banked corners. So they're like the camber of the corner is kind of like that. So as you turn into it, you kind of go sideways in the car.
Okay.
And for that, most people take the top line. So you're the furthest away from the apex of the corner. Right. And you take the top line up and around because it's just the faster way around. Mm-hmm. So it depends corner to corner, track to track. There's a lot of variables that go into it. But for the most part, general rule of thumb, hitting the apex is a good thing.
Okay. All right. And then all the way back to my second question about qualifying.
Yep.
So we're going through this Q1, Q2 qualifying process, eliminating people. They're going to start at the back of the grid on race day.
Yeah.
How big of a deal is that? Like, say, like, obviously it seems like a fairly big deal if you start at the front. That's got to help. But how often does like P1 win? How is it? Does P17 ever win? Like, is that essentially, are you writing off the race at that point, or like how?
You're not writing off the race because, like last season, if you're Max Verstappen starting in P17, it's bad because you want to win every single race. But if you're in the Haas or if you're in the Williams and you're starting P17, you're like, oh, it's not the back. Like it's, we're 17th with 3 cars behind us still. So it's not the worst thing in the world.
Okay.
But yeah, the further up the field, the better, which is why we have qualifying and why you'll see a lot of emotion around qualifying because the intensity of it is just so high that the adrenaline's pumping through them. And then when they get out of the car, if they've had a shit one, you'll hear them just screaming down the radio, or they'll, just get out and just be visibly like frustrated with themselves for not putting in a good lap.
Right.
So yeah, the higher you qualify, the better.
Okay. But is it like, it's like, what's the furthest back someone's ever won from? Do you know?
Last place. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm sure Sebastian Vettel has won from last place, and I'm sure Lewis Hamilton has. When Sebastian Vettel was in the Red Bull in like 2012, 13 or something, and they were dominating. Yeah. I'm sure he had a couple. He definitely has won from 17th. I'm sure he's had a couple where he's started from last, and I'm sure Lewis has as well.
Okay.
But in them kind of races, like both of them occasions, I mean, I can't 100% think of the Lewis one, but the Seb one that I'm thinking of, like the race was crazy. There was a few red flags or there was a few safety cars or whatever. Mm-hmm. So like the field kept getting bunched back together. So he could like move up to P10 and the field would be spread, and then there'd be a safety car or a red flag, and it'd bring the field back together. Mm-hmm. And then he's only got to go from 10th to first because it's a restart. Okay. So like, yeah, people can win from there, but it's just, you have to have a good car. You've got to be on form at that point, and you've got to have a lot of things in the race go in your way, like look wise, for you to actually make it up the field.
Okay. All right. We've already said a few things that I don't understand about the actual race, which we haven't even gotten to yet. I assume by the end of the qualifying day on the Saturday, next up is pretty much starting the race on the Sunday.
Absolutely. So race day is, it's traditionally on the Sunday. I'll throw something at you. The first 2 races this year are on a Saturday. Everything just kind of moves forward a day just because of Ramadan starting in the Middle Eastern countries. So they've kind of moved it forward for religious purposes in that sense, which is like, we've never had Saturday races before Vegas last year, which was a Saturday race. We watched it on a Sunday because we're in Australia, so we're fucking on the other side of the world. But yeah, this is the first time either of these 2 races will have performed on a Saturday. So it's going to be confusing for these first 2 for you, but usually it's on a Sunday.
All right.
So the race
I'm sure I can handle that.
Yeah. The race is normally 2 hours long.
Yep.
Race distance is usually determined by, it's usually a minimum race distance is 305 kilometers. So what you do is you take the lap time and divide it by 305. Is that correct? No, sorry. You take the race distance.
The lap distance.
The lap distance.
Yeah.
Of whatever that is per track, divide it by the 305 kilometers, that gives you your race distance. So for example, Spa, which is this track behind me, which is in Belgium, my favorite track, is a 7 kilometer track. So you divide 305 by 7, it gives you 43.5. You round it up, it's a 44 lap race.
Okay.
Which I always just say it's a 2 hour race, because that way you're always going to be happy when it finishes an hour and a half, because usually, well, the kind of rule is that the race can't surpass 2 hours. So if we have a red flag that stops the race for 20 minutes or half an hour, then the race has to be completed within, I think it's within a 4 hour period, but it's within 2 hours of racing. So under a red flag, until the cars stop in the pits, then the race is going. And then as soon as they leave the pits, then the race, like the clock is resumed. So you've got 2 hours to complete your race of racing time.
Okay.
Does that matter? I've said that so wrong, not wrong, but like confusing that even I'm confused.
No, I think I follow it. I like it. So obviously I would assume you're just you're trying to win the race, obviously. So I assume crossing the finish line first, but is that always the case, or aren't there like penalty times and stuff like that? Are there times when someone will cross the finish line first and not win? Is that?
That's such a good question. It's definitely happened where people have crossed the finish line, got a penalty, and then their position has changed. I'm not sure. It must have done, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a time where the winner has then had it changed.
Okay.
Actually, I can think of a time, and it actually decided the championship, but I wasn't alive for it, and I've only seen it in the documentary and from listening to my dad talk about it. I can't remember what year. I think it was like 87 or 89. Senna versus Prost, both in the McLaren, both the best drivers on the grid at the time, and were just absolutely hammering the championship, but they were like pretty much neck and neck. There was this one race, I think it was in Japan, and if Senna finished and won, he would be champion. If Senna didn't finish, he wouldn't be champion. It was something like that. And they were going into a chicane. Senna took the inside line on Prost. Prost turned in on him, hit the car to retire him. Now, Prost still denies it to this day that he did that, but I mean, from the footage on board, it looks like he turns in on him to take him out the race. Prost gets out the car and is walking off, and then Senna gets the marshals to push his car through the tyre barriers, and he carried on. He won the race. I don't know if he did win the but he won the race. And then the officials disqualified him about 2 hours later. So he was disqualified from the race and then therefore didn't win the championship or something like that.
Wait, who was disqualified?
Senna. Yeah.
Who got hit?
Who got hit.
Why was he disqualified?
He was disqualified. Exactly. He was disqualified for getting external help to resume racing.
Right.
Which wasn't a rule. And the team principal of McLaren at the time went and got all this footage of all the times it's happened and the driver has never been disqualified. So it was like a massive thing.
Okay.
But yeah, in more recent times, Max Verstappen has been taken off the podium in, I think, Mexico or something like that for Kimi Räikkönen because he overtook him and went off the track. And then 10 minutes later, the stewards gave him a penalty, which then gave Kimi Räikkönen third place back. So yeah, it does happen. Okay. Changes of position, but not super common.
Okay. All right. And so the sort of thing you get penalised time for is just dangerous driving, essentially. Like if you...
Yeah. Honestly, we could dedicate an entire episode to the rules of racing and why you could get a penalty. There is so many. But basics are, dangerous driving, leaving the track and getting an advantage, speeding in the pit lane, exiting the pit lane with an unsafe release, like one of your tires is slightly loose and it comes off the car or something like that. Like there's a lot of different things that can give you a time penalty, but the usuals are leaving the track and getting an advantage or dangerous driving.
Okay. What the hell? Okay, sure.
You're going to say what's leaving the track and getting an advantage.
Yeah.
So going over that white line that we spoke about earlier. Yeah. So if you're side by side with someone and you go into a corner and then you go over that white line to cut the corner and you maintain that position, you've gained a
so in that case, you'd get what, a couple seconds?
Usually like a 5-second penalty, yeah.
Okay. And what about, you said exiting the pit lane, your tyre comes off?
They wouldn't come off nowadays because the nuts are designed in a certain way. But if you exit and the tire's loose and you have to retire because of it, you can get or you've got you can get a penalty for it. Usually it's a financial penalty or something to the team.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, if it causes a yellow flag or a red flag or something, like in Australia a few years back, in fact, I think season 1 of Drive to Survive, you'll probably get to it soon. Both Haas's, their tires come off, exactly that issue.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. But okay. So say that happens. You've got some massive drama like that you've got to go fix. Do you just give up on the race? Like surely you're not expecting to keep up and finish.
No, you would never be able to keep up. You would have to pit and fix it. But 9 times out of 10, that can't be fixed. 9 times out of 10, you're retiring because you get like 2 corners in and the car could, if that comes off, it can be super dangerous. Like we've seen unsafe releases in the past where tires have hit people in the pits. Like there was a very famous one, Mark Webber. His tire wasn't put on properly, and then he hit a wheel gun. No. He started going in the pit lane. Wheel came off. The wheel hit a wheel gun, jumped up in the air, hit the cameraman on the back of the head. Can't remember what happened to him. I think he was okay in the end. I think he had some pretty serious injuries, but yeah, it can be very dangerous. So that's why they're quite harsh on it.
Right. Okay. All right. And then, so you've mentioned these flags a couple times.
Yep.
I have no understanding of them. What is the deal?
This is why we need to go-karting, because every go-karting session you ever go to, they always have the funniest little like demo videos of like, this is what the flags at this track means. And it's the funniest shit, but it's actually like, it strips it back to basics, and it's so good. If you've never learned about flags, go-karting, and you'll learn about flags so quickly.
I'm happy to go-karting.
Let's do it. You heard it here first. Yeah, okay. So basic ones you've got your green flag, which just means go or resume racing at a normal speed.
Nice.
Yellow flag means slow down. So you have to visibly show that you're lifting off the throttle or something like that, and be prepared to stop. What that means is basically there is an accident ahead, or there is something ahead that could cause an accident. So you need to be prepared to not cause a further accident.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Red flag is stop the race. All cars have to drive back around and stop in the pit lane. There has been a very fucking big accident if that happens, or there is a track defect. In practice last week, they probably showed it on the highlights videos, but some like grates, manhole covers came up on the track, and it caused huge delays. So we had a lot of red flags during testing from that.
Right. Okay. So you literally, no one is on the track. You go back around and pit and just wait for that to get fixed up.
Wait for it to get fixed, and then you can resume. And then with a race restart, there's two ways they'll do it. They'll either roll you out behind the safety car, so that safety car is limited to like maybe, I don't know, 180 kilometers or something like that, and you've just got to drive around slowly with that, and then that'll pull into the pits, and then you'll get the green flag and you can resume racing. Or the safety car will drive you around, you'll stop on the grid, and you'll do another stand-in start, which is like your traditional race start that you'll have seen with the red lights going out and stuff.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And they're just like, surely that impacts the outcome of the race, right?
Yeah.
Like, so as people are racing, someone's presumably got a lead by a certain distance on P2, and then probably quite a large distance on whoever's at the back of the race, right? Yeah. And then so you've got this red flag, everyone stops, you go sit in the pits, then you get let out. Everyone's just back
behind you,
back caught up again.
Yep,
like everyone's at the same spot.
Yeah.
And no one.
There's been a few red
people
flags.
People are happy with that?
Yeah, well, it's just the way that racing has always been. When you know what, I never questioned it until we watched. I'm sure there was a red flag during the Vegas race. There was something, and we spoke about it, and you said it sounds stupid, and I was like, yeah, it actually does sound quite stupid because you've worked so hard to gain all that advantage. But yeah, it's just the way it's always been. In every form of racing, that is what you do with a red flag.
That seems ludicrous. Yeah. Imagine like this. Okay, you said there's like 44 laps in this Spa.
Yeah.
Imagine a red flag in the 43rd lap. Or something. You've got like a
skin. You see, this is a man who does not know about the 2021 season.
Oh.
So you will have probably heard about the controversies with like Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, their rivalry they had in 21 when Lewis lost and Max won.
Sure.
That means no.
Yeah, correct.
So the controversy was that like with like it was with like 8 laps to go or something, Williams' car crashed, safety car came out. Lewis had a very fair lead and was winning the world championship. It was the last race of the season.
Yeah.
Williams' car crashes, safety car comes out, they have to clean it up. Safety car is kind of the same, except they don't stop. So you keep driving around just real slow behind the safety car.
Okay. So that's not a yellow flag? Is that a yellow flag?
It's technically a yellow flag, but safety car is the whole circuit is under yellow flag conditions because there will be marshals out, there'll be safety vehicles out and things like that.
Right.
So during this race, it was safety car, everyone's following around. Lewis with his lead, Max is right on the back of him. The difference was that there were cars in between Lewis and Max, back markers. So them cars had been lapped. Do you know what lapped means?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So like if you're in P17, you're a lap down, like the guy that's in P1 has passed you again.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay, wait. So Max is in P2.
But he's like 5 cars behind or 4 cars behind.
Right, okay.
Lewis is in P1.
Okay.
But they've closed that distance. When the safety car dropped, Max pitted and put fresh tyres on. Lewis decided to stay out. And when I say Lewis decided to stay out, I mean, Lewis said, we should probably pit. And Mercedes said, nah, we'll stay out.
Okay.
Bad decision. Because when the safety car went in, there was 2 laps left. The controversy comes with the FIA deciding to tell them back markers that they can unlap themselves so that Max and Lewis will be next to each other. And then with 2 laps remaining, Max passes Lewis and wins the world championship. Right. Quite a lot of controversy. Again, we could dedicate an entire episode to it, but that's the basics of it. But yeah, essentially, the stupidity of losing all of your great performance for the first 98% of the race is lost with a safety car or a red flag.
Okay. Okay. And they're just not changing that? They're
just never.
Everyone's just accepted that?
Do you know what? No one questions it because it's just we've always done it that way.
That seems so crazy. Okay.
I think it's just more from a point of like, how do you know what the distance is? Because let's say you're at turn 1 and I'm at turn 5 and there's a crash at turn 6.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see that crash and slow down immediately, but you won't even know it's happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And the red flag could drop. You could have gained another 10 seconds.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, it's really difficult to wind the clock back and figure out exactly what the distance was and then send them back out at them times.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's why they do it. But when you put it as like in a simple way, it just sounds stupid.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, I certainly don't have a solution to that problem. I just thought someone would. They've got all these brilliant minds working for all these teams. I thought someone would have worked it out. But right. Okay. That's interesting. And is it similar with a yellow flag? Does a yellow flag impact people's stance in the race, or is everyone sort of just slowing down a little bit?
No, because yellow flags will be section to section. So if there's a yellow flag in like the first sector, which could be like turn 1, 2, 3, 4, then only that section of the track will be under yellow flag conditions.
So whoever's in front of that could just
race as normal. Yeah, race as normal. Because you'll see yellow flags dropped a lot. Like, especially during a race, these first few races of the season, you'll see like cars will just pull off, but they'll pull off in a safe way onto a slip road. But they have to drop a yellow flag while that car is going slow and pulling off the track. So the yellow flag will drop. The yellow flag will drop, but it might literally just be for like 10 seconds, 20 seconds.
Right. Okay.
So that sucks because that could impact 2 drivers for that one lap and no one else. But yeah, again, it's just kind of it's safety. Like they don't want people crashing under yellow flag and under someone's going slow and then. So yeah, it's just a safety thing.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And then, okay, so you mentioned sort of Max versus Lewis. They had that sort of tactic with the pit stop and how that made a big difference. What are the rules around that? You have to pit a certain number of times and you have to change tyres a certain number of times or something, don't you? Aren't there rules there? Yeah,
you just have to pit once minimum. So the teams will determine what the fastest route to the finish line is. Is it pitting once? Because obviously when you go in the pits, you could lose 20, 25 seconds. Stop it, like slowing down to go in the pits, stopping and then get back out. So they'll determine, or they'll have like calculations of what is the fastest route from start to finish without any interruptions. And usually it's a one-stop race. So they stop and have to change all 4 tyres. That's the only mandatory thing. The tyres they have to change. So if you start the race on a medium compound tyre, which is a yellow ring around the edge of the tyre, you have to change to a different colour. So you have to change to different compound. You can't go medium. So if you ever in a race see someone go from a yellow set to a yellow set, you know they're going to pit twice because they have to change to a different set.
Right, okay.
So yeah, and it does happen. We had a fair few races last year that were 2-3 stop races because it's just faster to pit and put a fresh tyre on because you get better grip, you get better performance.
Okay.
Because tyres, like when you put a fresh set of tyres on, they immediately start degrading and wearing away. Yeah. So you immediately start losing performance. They'll have a peak of maybe like 5 laps or something, and then it's just downhill and they'll slow down over time.
Okay. And what the 3 tyres, is that just like to help with so that you've got soft, hard, medium? Is that just depending on if the ground's slippery or not, or how?
So I think there's 5 or 6 different compounds of tyres, but each race track is only allowed 3 of the 6. So officially it's like C1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But at each race you'll only see soft, medium, hard. Okay. And they'll tell you, this is at the softest range. So this is C1, 2, 3, for example. I think that's the softest range. So yeah, it just depends again on the track surface and how much the tires will degrade on that track surface. So yeah, it changes week in, week out. But from a basics point of view, it's soft, medium, and hard every single week.
Okay. All right.
Sweet.
They were all my big questions.
Good. Smashed it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling well prepped for race 1.
Good.
Thank you.
I'll just throw this out there. There is also something called a sprint race weekend, which is just another dynamic. But when we get to that, we'll talk about it because it's even more confusing and they've just changed they've just changed how that's going to work this year. So I'm not even fully around it yet. So when we get to the first sprint race weekend, we will have a goose at that.
Okay.
But I'm going to move us on to a little segment we're going to call How's the Haas Chap? Anyone that's on Instagram, go and follow at the Haas Chap. He is absolutely fucking brilliant. He's a Haas supporter based in the UK and he posts content all about Haas. So throughout the season, we're going to be checking up on our good friend and just making sure that he's okay because, as we all know, Haas are not going to be the best this season. Their team principal at the car launch said, we're going to be last.
Oh.
Yeah. So expectations are low.
Why would you say that?
Because the car hums this year. I think they're in a bit of a rebuilding phase. They just, Gunther Steiner, who you will have seen on Drive to Survive, he's just been sacked in January. So I think they're kind of rebuilding. So this year they just are taking it on the chin that they're going to suck.
Okay.
So yeah.
That is not what you want.
That is not all what we want. So
and they, I know the two cars were last and second last in testing, weren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they did a lot of laps, which is huge for a team. Like if you can get a lot of laps and mileage under your car, or kilometers under your car, then like you're on for a decent season. And they did, I think, the most or second most laps. Oh. So like reliability looks like it's there,
but which is shit lap times.
Just shit lap times. Yeah, it's going to be a very uphill battle for Haas this year.
Right.
I mean, I'd love it to be something else because Haas they're always one of them teams that like will throw out just random ass like top 5 finishes, and you're just like, where the fuck did that come from? So I hope they still get some of that, but it's not looking great for them.
Okay.
Anyway, so the Haas Chap has sent us in a little message, and it's a message of optimism, I would say.
Just ahead of the first race of the 2024 Formula One World Championship. It definitely seems like after testing that Red Bull have this in the bag. However, strong competition comes from McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes, but there is one particular team I think we need to pay closer attention to. It is one team that I feel like could really put in a good battle at the front, and that team is, of course, Haas F1. I might be slightly biased.
Just for reference, when you hear him unzipping, he's taking a coat off to reveal that he's wearing a Haas t-shirt, a Haas coat, and then he puts 2 Haas hats on his head, and he's got a Haas flag behind him.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 hats.
2 hats. I'm pretty sure in this one, 2 hats. He sent me a version with two or 3 hats on his head.
Right.
He's a very big fan.
Yeah. Okay. I guess you'll need both of them.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. All right. Well, you said you will all know that Haas is expecting to finish last. It doesn't sound like he's caught on yet.
Nah, he's got real optimism that they're not finishing last.
Okay.
I think he even said that they're going to be a title contender, which is questionable behaviour.
Right. Okay. Who else would be competing for last? Who else struggles? Williams?
Usually Williams, yeah, but last season we finished 7th. Dizzy heights up there. Oh yeah, look at us go.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's quite difficult to see this year. I think Haas are definitely going to be last, and then I think it's going to kind of be a bit of a 9th, 8th, 7th battle, and then a midfield battle, and then the front battle. But we'll see.
Right. How long's Haas been a team for?
Oh gosh, since 2016, 2017, something like that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they're the newest team to Formula One.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were the latest team to join. Yeah.
Okay. When did Aston Martin become their own team? Because this is what I don't understand. All these teams keep coming in and out, and sometimes they're just.
But this is why, like I say, like
other teams, and that's why I'm struggling to pick who I want to follow.
Yeah.
Because I quite like. Maybe I could get around Aston Martins, but if they've only been in for a couple of years and then they're going to leave in a couple of years,
I don't think Aston Martin will leave because it looks like they're putting a lot of money into it, and Lawrence Stroll is like he's pushing it forward, and they're doing real good. So I think that they're going to stick at it. But technically, Aston Martin are the latest team, but they just bought a team that was already existing and then rebranded it to Aston Martin. So like, Haas was a fresh entry. They didn't buy a team. They just entered a new team. So it was all new people. It was all new. Obviously they would have hired mechanics from other teams and things, but yeah, like it was a fresh team when it started. If you finish Drive to Survive season 1, I think that's their first year or their second year or something. You'll see that like I think in that season, Martin Brundle says to Gunther Steiner, the old team principal, he says, how many staff have you got? And he's like, we've got 290 members of staff. And he laughs and jokes saying Mercedes have the same amount of people on holiday as they do total staff. Yeah. I don't know how true that is, but it's just funny because Mercedes have got like probably over 1,000 people working for them. Right. So it's a funny thing. But yeah, they're the newest team. Okay. And they're the smallest team.
Yeah. All right. Nice. Where are they from?
America based.
Okay.
Yeah, Gene Haas Haas is like an American. I think they make tools and wrenches and spanners and shit like that. Sure. And I think they also make like machines to like make other tools, or I don't know. They make stuff in America.
Okay.
He's pretty big in NASCAR and stuff like that. So
All right, nice. Yeah. I appreciate how you deep dived on the tools for me. They make tools like wrenches.
Well, I could have said they make tools, just like your brother. So there could have been all that kind of gear. But
No, I know what a tool is. I know that much.
Also, something that he mentioned in the video is like Ferrari and Red Bull are looking like, well, I think he specifically just said Red Bull, but Ferrari and Red Bull are looking guru. Like they look like, from testing, they're looking pretty good. Now, when we're recording this, we have actually seen the results from free practice 1 and free practice 2. Red Bull aren't on top in either of them two, which is baffling because after the first day of testing, they were like 0.8 ahead of everyone. Yeah. So it's weird to see that they're now not on top. I think they're probably sandbagging. Sandbagging means, turning the car down and just like not showing your true hand kind of thing.
Okay. Why?
As in like you're putting sandbags in, the car's heavier, it's slower.
Yeah, but why would they do that? Especially just after
But I don't know.
Everyone saw that.
Honestly, I have no fucking clue. Maybe they just don't want to be in headlines because of all the Christian Horner stuff at the moment. So they're just kind of like sitting back a bit, and then in qualifying, it's going to pump them.
Okay.
But we'll see. But I'm still predicting that after watching testing, they are going to be up there. I'm really hoping that the Mercedes pace we've seen in this free practice, these 2 free practice sessions, is true, because that would mean that they're up there with the Red Bull. So we could actually have a 3-way. Don't pause there, Dave.
Okay.
We could actually have a 3-teamed battle for the win this year. See how I changed it? Oh, skin.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, for the win this year, you reckon?
Well,
or are we talking about the first race?
Well, first race would be brilliant, but I'd love it to be over the full season. That'd be even better.
You'd love. Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, I get that, but that would be fairly disappointing for Lewis Hamilton, wouldn't it? If he just left Mercedes because they suck and
now they get good. Yeah, that would be bitterly disappointing for Lewis Hamilton, because the reason he's leaving is that he doesn't. Well, one of the reasons is because he doesn't trust this Mercedes team is going to get better. So yeah, it would home. But from the free practice session, they were the top of the charts in free practice 2, and both good times. Like they were literally first and second in free practice 2. Yeah, and like I think they were probably like 0.5 or 0.4 or something ahead of P3. So yeah, looking strong.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right.
Right, I'm going to move us on after that to meme of the week. Actually, speaking of Mercedes, we're going to follow on with Mercedes, which is crazy because Disco doesn't like them that much. I'm Disco Dave, by the way.
They're all talking in the third person.
Oh yeah, I love doing it. So Mercedes tweeted last week after the preseason testing, if we had a nickel for every time a drain cover came loose during testing, we'd have 2 nickels. It's not a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Come on, Skin.
Okay.
Come on, that's good gear, that.
Is it?
Yeah. Drain covers popping up out the ground. Is that a common thing?
I don't know. I never watched F1. Is that a common thing?
Well, actually, funnily enough, you've never watched F1, but the first race you ever did watch, a drain cover popped up.
I thought these things popped up all the time.
This is not that common. It's becoming more common with the new cars because they're ground effect cars, so it sucks the car to the ground up. So it's apparently happening more and more. It happened like 2 or 3 times during testing, but I wouldn't say I couldn't count on 2 hands. I probably could only count on 1 hand how many times it's happened in my lifetime, or that at least I remember. It's
I've
not
seen
a common
3
thing.
in a couple months. What are you talking about?
It's not that common, Skin. It's not that common.
Okay, all right.
So this is good gear from the Mercedes admin team.
Yeah, go Mercedes.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well done.
Go Mercedes.
All right.
Well, that wraps up another lap at Formula Fools. I hit the mic then, didn't I, Skin?
I didn't notice it, but
no.
Sure.
No one else noticed it either. I'm just pointing it out now. Okay. We hope you enjoyed this ride as much as we did. Now it's your turn to join the Formula Fools family. Connect with us on social and become a fellow fool.
Oh my goodness.
Chat GPT has been hard at work writing this, Skin.
You're welcome to write your own shit, Dave. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, that's debatable. But yes, we're on social media as well if you'd like to get around us there. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate it. And yeah, if you haven't already, please check us out on Instagram and other platforms.
TikTok.
Yep.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Facebook when I've made it. Yeah. YouTube.
Yep. All those sort of main ones. And yeah, get in touch. Let us know what you think. If you've got any feedback, we're all ears.
And our @ there is @Formula_Fools, because Skin didn't mention it.
I did not. Sorry to let you down. There you go.
And before you peel out, please drop us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or even give us a shout out on YouTube. We thrive on hearing all your feedback. I know I'm going to make mistakes. Skin's probably going to make mistakes. That's why we're called The Fools. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next lap of Formula Fools. I've already made that joke. Come on, Chad, write some better gear. Every turn is a chance for a good laugh. See you later.